Hello and welcome to our English news edition coming to you from Canal, Algérie. First, to the headlines. The President of the Republic, Supreme Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Minister of National Defense Abdelmajid Tebboune, chaired on Sunday a meeting of the Council of Ministers devoted to the examination, adoption and follow-up of draft bills and presentations related to several sectors. The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, holds his periodic meeting with the national media, where he dealt with a set of national and international files that interest Algerians. And the President of the Republic's decision to increase salaries and unemployment allocations was highly welcomed and appreciated by Algerians, a decision which will be implemented by the end of the year. And for the second time, Morocco refuses to hold a meeting of Al-Quds Committee, which is chaired by the King Mohammed VI, while Algeria urges the committee to hold a meeting which aims to discuss the Zionist attacks against Palestinians. Good evening, those were today's headlines. First, in our news, the President of the Republic, Supreme Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Minister of National Defense Abdelmajid Tebboune, chaired on Sunday a meeting of the Council of Ministers devoted to the examination, adoption and follow-up of draft bills and presentations related to several sectors. After the opening of the session by the President of the Republic and listening to the presentation made by the Prime Minister on the results of the government's activity in the last 2 weeks, the President of the Republic gave orders and instructions related to the different sectors dealt with. First, in the field of communication, the President ordered the organization of the sector through the enactment of 2 separate bills, the first related to the written and online press. As for the second bill, it is related to the audiovisual press. He then ordered to define the professional journalist with precision in all media specialties, as well as the sector's related professions, to pave the way for professionals by associating them with the innovative vision while establishing a break with the norms that previously governed the media scene, to mobilize the media work according to the universal journalistic values. Concerning the energy sector, the President stressed the imperative for the zinc and the lead mining project in Amizor, located in Bijaya province, to take into account the quality standards of production and environmental standards required, integrate local skilled labor during the operation of the project, and create job opportunities. As for the industry sector, and after following an updated presentation on the various investment projects that have benefited from a lifting of obstacles, the number of which have reached 854 out of 915 projects, the President of the Republic stressed the following. First, the need to continue the fight against unemployment through the revival of halted investment projects, ensure optimal exploitation of the industrial land and the recovery of not exploited land and granted to real investors, the establishment of a strict regulation to benefit from the concession of industrial and agricultural land, and regarding the strengthening of international flights in anticipation of the summer season, the President of the Republic ordered the Minister of the sector to start the revision of the prices of air and sea transport tickets for the benefit of the national community, so as to encourage them to opt for the national transport companies, finding an immediate and exceptional solution to all the problems related to the transportation of Umrah pilgrims, to review the organizational chart of Air Algérie in accordance with international standards, to give a great importance to the socio-professional situation of the Algerian pilots and technicians working in the field of aviation. Concerning the sector of water security and water resources, the President of the Republic ordered the Minister of the sector to initiate through investigations on the nature of water consumption in all fields, to develop a national strategy for production, distribution, and consumption, distinguishing between individual family consumption and consumption of water for commercial purposes, intensify the control and prosecution of perpetrators involved in water theft by applying severe sanctions against them, water being a vital product subsidized by the state. As for the health sector, the President of the Republic instructed the Minister of the sector to take care of 373 children with phenylketonuria and immunodeficiency free of charge by the state through 18 provinces by providing food, supplements and medicines and authorizing the Central Hospital Pharmacy to import and distribute the medicines and food supplements related to their therapeutic regime. The President then ordered the Health Minister to take charge of rare diseases in Algeria at the state's expense. He also ordered the coordination with associations specialized with rare diseases under the scrutiny of the state for their early detection, monitoring and examination in order to identify them and reduce their spread. Finally, and before closing the session, the Council of Ministers approved a number of agreements and individual decisions on appointments to senior state positions. The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, dealt with a set of national and international files in his periodic meeting with the national media.
كل ما نلتزم به نطبقه، والشيء اللي نطبق فيه اليوم التزمت به في التزاماتي 54 وأنا نطبق فيه، ونتعهد مع الطبقة الشغيلة نتاعنا أن من نهاية السنة نستنى إن شاء الله النتائج النهائية نتاع المداخل تاعنا من نهاية السنة تكون فيه زيادة في علاوة البطالة وتكون فيه زيادة في الأجور كذلك إن شاء الله
من آخر سنة 2022
باش يبدأ التطبيق تاعها في جانفي. ناخذ قرارات في آخر ديسمبر 2022 وباش التطبيق تبدأ يتطبق في جانفي.
The President of the Republic then reiterated his support for the vulnerable segments of society. Abdelmajid Tebboune announced an increase in salaries and the unemployment allowance by the end of the year, while its implementation is scheduled for next January.
الردع راه يومي بالتقرير، ما فيش قانون اللي ما راجعناش. قانون تاع المضاربة جرمنا المضاربة، كانت امور تجاريه عقوبات ماليه. اليوم يقدر اللي يدير الاحتكار قادر يوصل 30 سنه سجن. الدرك والشرطه وكل المصالح تاع الدوله الله راها ليهم بالمرصاد، راهم يتبعوا. راكم شفتوا واش صرا في الموز بنان، واش صرا في المواد الاخرى. لان المؤمن لا يلدغ من شحر مرتين. تلدغنا ايام ما كان الكوفيد وهذيك واستغلوا. شفتوا واش داروا في الكوفيد؟ صور مزوره ودي فيديو مزوره ويتعدوا على كذا باش يخلوا المستشفيات فارغه، تعداوا على الاطباء، تعداوا زادوا. لما جات الحاله تاع السميد حنا الاحتياط تاعنا موجود ويغيبوا في السميد في السوق. نهار اللي الدرك قاموا بتحريات لقينا العجب. كنا عارفين باللي الامور هذه ماهيش طبيعيه، يعني. لقينا ولايه لما تشوف المجموع تاع التمويل تاعها اللي مشى ليها 40 قنطار في الشهر لكل مواطن. إذا كل 40 كيلو في الشهر راهم ليها 40 قنطار. وجدنا ما يقارب 160 مطحنه تدي القمح وما طحنوش ويبيعوه ديريكتومون للمربي المواشي وغيرهم.
The President of the Republic also reiterated Algeria's unwavering support for the Palestinian cause.
يعني تكاد تكون من توابت الجزائرية، وهي حقيقة من توابت الجزائرية من وقت سي بومدين رحمه الله إلى يومنا هذا. ربما بعض الأحيان النار تطفى شوية، ولكن الجزائريين متعلقين بالفلسطين، يعني توأمة بين فلسطين والجزائر، وما نتخلاش عليها مهما كان الحال، لأن فيه أولا قدسية المكان، أولى القبلتين، ما نقبلش باش تدنس.
Concerning the field of energy and the Algerian-Spanish relations, the President of the Republic reaffirmed that Algeria will respect its commitment with Spain as a supplier of gas regardless of the circumstances.
الدولة الإسبانية عندنا معها علاقات طيبة، وكان فيه قرب يعني كيما إيطاليا كيما كذا. رئيس الحكومة تخلى على كسر كل شيء، رئيس الحكومة مش إسبانيا. الرأي تاع الآخرين ما عطاوهش، وإن كان عطاوه في المجلس الوطني تاعهم في الشارع الإسباني. أنا ما ندخلش في الأمور الداخلية تاع إسبانيا. احنا كدولة ملاحظة فيما يخص الصحراء الغربية نعتبر إسبانيا والأمم المتحدة تعتبر إسبانيا باللي سي لا بيسونس ادمينسترانت طون كي با دو سوليسيون صار اوكسيدونتال. هذا هو. وباش نطمن الأصدقاء الإسبان، الشعب الإسباني، الجزائر عمرها ولا تتخلى على التزامها بتموين إسبانيا بالغاز مهما كانت الظروف، مهما كانت كسمة.
Morocco has put itself in a shameful position by refusing for the second time to hold a meeting of the Al-Quds Committee, which is chaired by the King Mohammed VI. For its part, Algeria urges the committee to hold a meeting so as to deal with the violations committed by the Zionist occupation forces. The details with Midi Sakibash.
Morocco officially marked through its permanent representative in New York its opposition within the groups of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation and non-aligned countries for the holding of the meeting of the Al-Quds Committee presided by King Mohammed VI. It is worth noting that Algeria called for the holding of the meeting without any delay in order to assume its responsibilities and deal with the serious violations committed by the Zionist occupation forces against the Palestinians, in particular in the Al-Aqsa Mosque. The Moroccan opposition to the meeting of the Al-Quds Committee has exposed once again the Makhzen regime, which continues to hold the committee hostage for its own benefits, revealing its manipulation of the Palestinian cause in holy places. This move shows the incapability of Morocco to assume itself with dignity, since it opposed in a pact with its friends to the inclusion in the final version of a paragraph calling on the Al-Quds Committee to fully assume its responsibilities and the tasks assigned to it in the defense of the city of Al-Quds and the holy places. Morocco has this time drawn on its own manual of deceit for the whole sole purpose of diverting and ultimately devitalizing the initiative of the Palestinian side in collaboration with the Coordination Office of the Movement of Non-Aligned Countries in New York. These poor maneuvers could not remain without reaction from the Algerian side, which expressed once more its reservations concerning the flattery and unduly high praise that Morocco wanted to attribute to the chairman of the Al-Quds Committee, for whom the holy city is the last of its concerns.
And the Moroccan people have no intention neither to surrender nor to stop the protest movements. The high cost of living, social insecurity, repression and arbitrary arrests are things denounced by the inhabitants of 28 Moroccan cities, and the finger is pointed at the horrible practices of the Makhzen regime. More details with Ines Killo.
The Moroccan Social Front called once again to organize next Saturday a demonstration in different regions of the kingdom to denounce for the umpteenth time the soaring prices and protest against the systematic repression of different social groups and critical voices. Once again, the street rumbles in Morocco, calling for demonstrations, and the reason, as usual, the high cost of living and high prices. The purchasing power of the Moroccan masses continues to erode.
وحنا كانت هذه الوقفة الاحتجاجية اللي نظمتها الجبهة المغربية.
This protest demonstration is organized following the call of the Moroccan Social Front. Demonstrations are taking place across 28 Moroccan cities, starting with the big cities like Casablanca, Rabat, and Marrakesh. These demonstrations follow those already organized before to protest against the high cost of living. All prices have increased, starting with those of semolina and its derivatives. The prices of vegetables, oil, sugar and fuel have all risen sharply. People's pockets are empty, and especially since there is no increase in salaries, there is no job opportunities, in addition to the precariousness of employment. Add to that corruption. Moroccans can no longer cope with this situation.
خاوية لأنه ما كاين خدمة أحيانا، خاوية لأنه الخدمة هشة.
The Moroccan demonstrators do not want to stop there. The protest will continue not only to the fight against the high cost of living, but also against the oppression and for the release of the many political prisoners who have been languishing for a long time in the prisons of the Mersin.
The message that we want to convey through this demonstration is to say no to the high cost of living, no to repression, and yes to the release of all political prisoners.
ولا للقمع ونعم لإطلاق سراح كافة المعتقلين السياسيين.
هذه الوقفة ليست هي الأولى وليست هي الأخيرة.
This demonstration is neither the first nor the last one called by the Moroccan Social Front. I call on all Moroccans to come out to protest against this situation of high cost of living which affects the pockets of citizens. In addition to the sit-ins in all cities, the Social Front has announced its intention to organize a national demonstration in Casablanca, the date of which will be announced soon, the third one that the Moroccan Social Front has announced in a few weeks, in a protest against high prices.
In France, Emmanuel Macron wins the 2022 French presidential elections with a score of 52.2% against Marine Le Pen in his second mandate. And we wrap up our today's news with Hasna Al-Bashariya, who never fails to fascinate her fans with her Gnawi music. More details with Sabrin Taferganit.
The Gnawi diva Hasna Al-Bashariya rocked her latest concert, which took place in a jam-packed venue at Algiers Opera.
Performing on the same stage as Hasna Al-Bashariya is such an honor for me. She is definitely an international star who honored her beloved region of Bashar.
My dad taught me how to play with Gimbri, even though he was against the idea of girls playing it. I am so happy of what I have accomplished so far, and I am so proud of my public.
Amazed by the voice and the way Hasna masters her electric guitar, the fans had the great pleasure to sing in chor with their best Gnawi idol, Allah Ya Mulana.
And with that, our today's news edition comes to a close. Thank you for joining us.